Hi, in this lecture I will provide you with a very brief introduction to R and RStudio because these are the tools we are going to use for statistical analyses, and ideally you should have them installed on your computer by now. But just to make sure that we are all on the same page, I will just quickly take you through the details of these tools. So if you go to to Google and type in R download, the first link itself will take you to the download page of R, and essentially you can download the latest version of R from here in case you don't have it. And R is also available on Macintosh and Linux systems, so it is just a question of searching around and finding the version most suitable for you. And once you download R, this is what the R console looks like, and essentially the cursor that you see over here, this is where the computations are carried out. Let me just show you like so. And when we work with the R GUI, what we do is that we actually have a script and we run our code from script like so. So I will type in some code, and the line where my cursor is, I will press Ctrl R and the results will be displayed here. Obviously, if you're not on a Windows system, then you'll have to search around what the equivalent of Ctrl R is for your system, but essentially this is how we execute code in R. And RStudio, well, essentially RStudio has a much more powerful user interface as compared to R, and essentially this is an integrated development environment. And in order to have RStudio on your system, you need to install R first. So if you have R installed on your system, then you can go to RStudio. Just type in RStudio and you'll come to this link for RStudio. You can go to the download page like so, and we need to download and install the RStudio open source license, and this is free and you can download it here. And once you download it, this is what the IDE looks like, and essentially this is where we run the scripts, and this is the console, and this is where the results are shown. This is the environment, and this one will tell you which data have been loaded in and so on. And I'll just tell you how to, one of the greatest advantages that R provides us with is that it allows us to create marked down documents. And as you can see, I have some code here. Well, this is an entire R file comprising of code. So it gives me the freedom to write my comments here and then insert code chunks. So I've inserted a code chunk which is over here, and all of this is a code chunk. And this is where I put in my comments, and when I press knit the current document, what I get is an HTML file of all my code. So all the comments that I put in, the date when I created this code, that is here, the comments are here, the code chunks are here, the results of that code are here, and so on. And essentially this is what RStudio does, and this is one of the main reasons I recommend getting started with RStudio as soon as possible if you envisage carrying out analyses in R, because it lets you create HTML records of all your analyses. Now, in order to get started with using RStudio, you can go to File, New File, and go to RScript. Now, RScript, it is no different from the RScript we saw in the basic R GUI. So this is just an ordinary script file, and I'll just type in some code and press Ctrl R, and this is the console, and this is where the results are displayed like so. So when I put in 9 plus 9, and then it showed me 18 over here. But this is not a markdown document. I don't want to save it. In order to get a marked down document like this, we need to go to File, New File, R Markdown. And essentially, this is what is produced for us. And this is our Markdown notebook. We execute code within the notebook, and the results, they will appear beneath the code. So let us just try to run Control R. So as you can see, this is the code chunk. And when I ran it with the Control R, this produced the results here. And eventually when I knit my document, then all of these will be presented in a sequential order. There are times when I work in R script when I'm just doing quick basic computations, and when I want to formalize my results and have a full proper document of my analyses, at that point I shift to R Markdown, because I think R Markdown is very good once you have all your analyses sorted and you want to create an HTML record of the same. And the R script, and now I'm sitting in an R script, that works the best as a scratch paper or a rough paper. And well, it is the R equivalent of a rough paper, so this is very good for running basic crude computations. And throughout this course, we will be switching between R Markdown and R script. Now, one of the greatest advantages that R offers us are the different packages, and R has packages for everything, for different fields ranging from ecology to genetics, and it doesn't matter what your background is, there are packages relevant for your field. So now if you want to install a package, any package, then we can go to the install button like so, and we can type in the package name. And suppose if I want to install this, I'll select it, install dependencies, and install. And once this is installed, I can call my installed packages like so using the library function. So if we want to use a given package, we have to load it first using library, and as you can see, the caret library has now been loaded, and this is just a random package that I use quite often, so it was installed on my system. As we go along, you are going to encounter a lot of packages that you will be installing, and essentially those packages, they really improve and increase the functionality of R. And as we go along in the course, you can go on installing those packages as we go along. Now, just to acquaint you with getting started with R Markdown, this is an R Markdown document, and we can give it a name. So let us just call it analysis. Okay. I don't want any of this. I'm going to remove it, and I'm going to save it, Control S. Oh, I can even do better than that. Let us show you. I can insert a code chunk, and so when you want to insert a new code chunk, you go to insert a new R chunk, and this is how we get to those code snippets that we saw. And in order to work with R data or carry out the analyses, you need to navigate to a given working folder. I would advise you to download all the R data for this course and create a separate working directory for that, and you have to point R towards that separate working directory, and the function for that is stwd. Now, depending on your computer and depending on the software configuration of your computer, the slashes are going to vary. So in my case, I need 2 backward slashes for my set working directory. In some cases, it can be 2 forward slashes or 1 forward slash or 1 backward slash. So this is something you'll have to discover for your own system. And now I can save it. So now it will actually let me save in the directory where my data are, like so. So I'll just call it analysis 1, and I won't give it an extension, so I will just save it, and it will be saved as a .rmd file. And this is something I can knit as well. It has been knitted for me. And essentially this is how we kickstart our markdown documents. And it is always a good idea to, if you are working with markdown, it is a good idea to go on creating HTMLs as you go along with your code. So with this, I hope you are well acquainted with the R GUI and the RStudio program that we are going to carry on using in this course, and we are going to move further on and start getting more familiar and comfortable with R commands and R functions and so on. But essentially by now you should be having RStudio installed on your system. It should be up and running, and you should be able to knit a basic HTML document for yourself. So see you in the next lecture.